Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and I know that this has been long awaited. We have an update on my babies, my Herald of Perfection. These are my babies right here, okay? They have a very special place in my heart. The Nightmare cards that came out not too long ago, they made one very generous contribution of Nightmare Goblin to this deck's arsenal, enabling it to kind of do more combos and all those issues I had where I was like, dang, I want to play Breeding Fusion, but it's not a plus, it's a minus, and you have to play bricks. Now I can just run Goblin. So when you open up with your Geldagra and you're able to use Geldagra to, generate the pluses, the pre-prep on legs, you can kind of shift that combo into the underclock, and then after the underclock, the Goblin. And what you want to do, you kind of have to use your Herald to link summon, and you end up making, the Saryas of Skoldred and the Arkler Chrysia plus Herald. It's 3 monsters, and you have 5 cards in hand, and 4 of them are guaranteed to be fairies. The other one, we don't know about it. But yeah, that's a really solid combo. And also, it can get more powerful if you open up with Geldagra, a pre-prep, and a Star Seraph Scepter or a Sovereignty. You can then kind of do your Geldagra and then do your Stick Chair combo. It's just really busted, honestly. We've considered playing Venuses and Shine Balls. Like, there's a lot of stuff I still want to do with this deck, but this is Herald Variation number 71. We have built this deck 71 different ways. Let's hop into the main deck. Starting off with 3 Herald of Perfection, the only cards that are really going to be able to answer to this right now in the format are going to be Solemn Strikes. This deck is really no longer Kaijuable or Lava Golemable. Like, you really can't Kaiju a Lava Golem because of how consistent you're able to get out your barrier statue. Every time you summon Herald, you're gonna be able to search a Light Fairy. You're afforded the opportunity to grab a Light Fairy, and your opponent cannot deny you the ability to do so because Herald can negate anything, even an Ash Blossom. So you're gonna be able to search a Light Fairy. So whenever you're playing against anything that's not, for example, Dracos, right? Anything meta needs a special summon. If you go Herald Barrier Statue, it seems like a soft lock, but it's actually a major, like a crippling lock, because now Gokis, Spirals, Sky Strikers, heck, really it's just Trick Stars and Invokes are the only ones that can really play, but Gokis, Spirals, and Sky Strikers can no longer special summon. And now on top of that, any card effects that they would activate are going to be negated and destroyed. So this right here, it guarantees that you're going to probably win. In addition to that, it says that you cannot Kaiju me or Lava Golem me. And because there's 2 monsters, you can't even raw Spear mode. So I feel that that's really powerful, and I just have to keep that, let you guys keep that in mind, because everybody likes to comment on my videos and say, what about the Kaiju? And I found a way to solve the Kaiju problem, like, a long time ago. And then we're playing still 3 Princess Katanas. Hiya! Because you need to open up with this card. You need to see it, so that way you don't always have to waste your resources searching it. You can just use them to search more fairies, so you have ammunition to reload this man's gun so you can fire it an infinite amount of times. So you're always going to maximize on these cards. No matter how people look at it, it's a ritual deck. You got to have the spells. You got to have the monsters. You got to have, the ability to recur the resources that you've expended. So this is always going to make sure that your ritual summon pays for itself, and that you're going to add, this card back so that you have the negation for him. So this is perfect, 3 and 3. They're the only ritual monsters that I play, because you also have to keep in mind that the more ritual monsters you play, the higher chance that you give yourself of bricking, because ritual monsters by themselves do nothing without their ritual spells. We do play 3 Geldagras because it is still the God card. It's just too good. It's insane. It is a pre-preparation of rights on legs. And something that's really cool is, unless they affect Valor it, or impermanence it, it's going to be able to generate some form of advantage. If they Ghost Ogre, you still get the search. They can't Ash Blossom its effect, but they can Ash Blossom the Herald. But keep in mind, it can activate its effect again, dump another Herald. So you really have to either Valor or impermanence it. And that's when Herald's not on board. So it kind of plays around, I guess you could say, 68% of the hand traps on the playing field right now, which makes it that much better going first. And then I also play 3 copies of Handy Manny because he's my helping hand. He helps me out a lot. He searches, and he's a Ties of the Brethren target. He's very flexible in what he searches. He's not limited to either or. He searches both, which is really good. And the incremental value that you can get if you have to set him and flip summon him, it helps out immensely. And next up, for more engine cards, these 6 are kind of like part of your ritual engine to just search out your combo pieces. Now for the more engine cards, we do play Star Seraph. I call this the staff, and I call this the throne. If you look at my playmat, you have, I talked about this a long time ago. I said I always envisioned with this deck, every time I go Herald Stick Chair, I imagine Herald sitting on Sovereignty, holding Scepter in his hand. Now, if you look at this playmat that I'm putting these cards on, there you have it. Herald of Perfection is sitting on the Sovereignty. He has Scepter in his hand because this is a staff and this is a throne. And right below him, you have Archlord Christia and Powered Angel Valkyria bowing down before him because he is the king of fairies, indeed. So your stick and chair, what people commonly call it, are your ability to break boards going second. A lot of times, like especially people that have played against me in the past of this deck, whenever I open this combo and just resolve it without their interruption, if I have Herald, they kind of just scoop it up. Because it's very, very downhill from there. You get to draw 3 cards. You get to pop 2 cards. And it depends. When you do this combo, this deck loves me a lot. For some reason, I draw Scepter off of Sovereignty a lot. And it gives me that extra pop, that extra draw for more pressure going second. Going first, this kind of gives you the knowledge of what you're playing because you're going to be able to rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And that card that hits their grave will let you know exactly what deck you're playing. So even if they scoop because they could not play through the Herald, you already know how to play. You already know what to side. And you kind of you have that free knowledge that's not public. So this is really good. For more engines, we kind of play a package, I guess you can say. Barrier Statue kind of has to be played with Honest. Now, something that's really cool about this particular Barrier Statue of Heavens is the only Barrier Statue that can actually be played under Ties of Brethren and grant itself an immunity and protection from battle. So what's really cool about that is now, because you have Honest, your opponent cannot run over it. They have to get over it by card effect, but because of Herald's own ability, they cannot use a card effect to destroy the Barrier Statue. So it creates this very, very powerful lock that people really underestimate. And it kind of just says, not only can you not play Yu-Gi-Oh, but you can't do anything about it, so you kind of have to scoop it up. So the Honest and the Barrier Statue, really powerful. This deck, if it goes first, it wins every single time. And I also have one more package for you guys. I have a 3-card package. I have the Eva package. So I was where are these cards at? I was in the past playing Phosphorage, the Elemental Lord. I was playing Goddess of Sweet Revenge, and I have tried Power Angel Valkyria. I've had good experience with these cards. They're not bad. What I always do is I change this deck. I test out variations. I'm on like a lifelong journey and experimentation with what is the best build for Herald of Perfection. So I still don't know because I have so many good builds. All of them are really powerful and potent. But so far, I'm really enjoying this one because it has a lot more combos. And I feel that the more combos that I can get, the more fun I can have, because it's not always fun to just kind of sit on Herald and be like, negate, 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 switch it to attack, poke. But when you're able to make combos happen and generate bigger boards than just Herald and Barrier Statue, you just have a lot more fun doing it, even knowing that your opponent can't win. So the Eva package is insane. This has synergy because after you resolve the Eva and you pitch this, you can bring it back off Ritual Sanctuary and search for a Cyber Angel Benton, which I call Princess Katana, hiya, and kind of get that extra fairy for your Herald of Perfection, and then it can contribute to a Link summon later on. And the same goes with the Herald of Arclight. If you want to play Synchro monsters, you can revive this and, Synchro for 8 or 6. So this helps out a lot. And I think by far the ultimate lockdown in this deck that this deck can do is definitely Herald and Archlord Christia. And Gale Dogra ensures that your Christia will be summoned with exactly 4 light fairies, or just 4 fairies in your grave in general. And Herald Christia is no laughing matter because now even Trickstars and Invoked, they cannot summon Mechaba and they cannot special summon Lycoris. Even though it really wasn't going to do anything to Herald, it's the fact that now they indefinitely cannot do anything whatsoever. An Altergeist player is probably going to have to set something and like a solemn strike and try to make me negate it. But the thing is, if I already have these on field and I'm playing against Altergeist, I'm not activating effects, and I'm not negating anything unless it's like a mirror force. A mirror force is something I would have to negate. But other than that, I'm really not going to negate anything because I'm going to be reading that they have a solemn strike and they're trying to use it. So this kind of just seals the deal against every deck. And Dracos, while they're still powerful and while they still can potentially steal wins, they're just not as popular, and their representation is a lot less than what it used to be. So we don't really have to worry about, oh, you can't special summon, but you tribute summon. And you know what I'm saying? And then for our spells, we do play 3 pre-preparation of rights and 3 regular preparation of rights. This card is so insane going second. You play through your negations by activating your ritual spell. That is the window for your opponent to respond. If they don't negate the ritual spell, this man hits the field and it's GG no re. So they have to negate the ritual spell, but because you have a card like this at 3, if they negate the ritual spell, you're going to activate this, you're going to add another combo piece, and you're going to simply grab that same ritual spell back and activate it again. And it kind of gets worse when you open up with multiples of these, because you know that you're guaranteed able to play through a minimum of 3 negates and still make your board. I do recall when I told you guys that story, when I played through a board of Hope Harbinger, Titanic Galaxy, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Jackal King, and a Firewall Calling by 1. Like, dude, I'll tell you guys that story really fast when I get done with the deck profile. Then we have 3 Pot of Desires. I do play that 3, even though it's a once per turn, hard once per turn, because once you set up your board, you just need fairies in hand. You need more than 5, right? Because you want to make sure that not only can you negate every card that your opponent plays or every good card, you want to make sure that you have enough resources yourself to apply pressure and put damage on the board. Because while you can negate everything that they can activate, if you can't kill them the next turn, you are risking the chance of them coming back on you. We play 3 Plies of the Brethren. Some say that it conflicts with Gildagra, but I say that I don't play, 15 Gildagras. I only play 3. If I draw it and I draw this, I'm going to choose Gildagra every single time. It just depends. But if I already open up with a way to make Herald and I have this, the Gildagra is not going to be used. I'm going to go for Herald plus the Bear Statue and some more monsters, because that's going to set up with the Bear Statue, the Honest, the Star Seraphs. It's going to guarantee that I can use the Stick Chair combo next turn and that I get extra fairies to hand. So this is kind of like another win condition, you can say. And when Dimensional Barrier was a bit more popular, this was one of the ways that I can make plays even if I got barriered, and they called Ritual. Speaking of Ritual, I play 3 copies of Las Vegas. It's kind of one of my favorite field spells of all time. I call this field spell Las Vegas because I came from Vegas. I'm not from there. I wasn't born and raised, but that's where I moved from. And believe it or not, everybody wants to get married in Vegas. And I see this. I see people getting married. I think about Las Vegas every time. This field spell is insane. Its ability to search every single turn, to recycle any spells, be them Raigeki, Soul Charge, Monster Reborn, the one-ofs, right? Think of the one-ofs that you only get to use once per duel. This field spell says you can use them as much as you want, because not only does this deck search like to infinity and beyond, but this deck has a ton of draw power. It's really, really consistent. Think of it as Necros, but 2.0. So it's really good. And then we have 3 Dawn of the Herald. Something else that I forgot to mention is this is a Monster Reborn as well. So it recycles your spells, it searches for anything practically that you need, and then it special summons light fairies from your graveyard. So it's a Monster Reborn for Herald. If your opponent Solemn strikes your Herald of Perfection, like if they go Mirror Force, Solemn Strike, you can just bring your Herald back off of this, especially how fast you load your grave up with your spells. Trust me, it's easy. You can do your Stick Chair combo again. You can revive your Barrier Statue when you link summon with it and go into, like, for example, Proxy Dragon if you need to, just for more damage. There's a lot of things you can do. This is an extender. I play 1 Optimus Prime to search this field spell out. I could bump it to 2, but I've had to make a lot of sacrifices and cut cards. And what I decided to do is, if I'm going to cut a card, I want to cut a card that I already played and just decrease the number so that I don't lose anything. I'll show you guys the extra deck, and then I'll tell you about how I broke that board. So we have 2 Herald of Arclight. You can play Elder Entity Natisse. She's really good. She turns your Gildagra into either a weapon or a combo piece, which is really good. And then we play the XYZs that the Star Seraph package is always going to go into. This is for going first, and this is for going second. I occasionally make this going second because, like, either a card can be destroyed or there's, like, literally one card in my opponent's hand, and I just really want to be greedy and make sure that they're down to top decking. So it just depends, but more than likely you're going to this. And Diamond, well, this was back kind of when, like, 60-card decks were more popular. Diamond was, like, an auto-win in so many matchups. Like, he says that you really can't send cards from your deck to your grave, like, at all. And then he also says that Dark Monsters kind of just get negated. So I liked him because, like, 60-card Dinos, Overraptor can't resolve. Overtext Quadlist can't resolve. They can't even use Overraptor to dump Quadlist. And then, like, Lightsworns lose. And just, like, it's a really, really sad time for them. I feel that now he's not as good, but it's nice to have him in your arsenal because you never know when you play against a strategy that this card could be a crippling, you know, I guess you can say it could be detrimental in that matchup. And then we have kind of just some generics. Tornado Dragon Dweller and Gagaga Samurai is a really smart choice for me. I opted to play this because one of the main issues with this deck is applying pressure and pushing for damage after you've negated the vast majority of your opponent's plays, drain their resources, and put them to the point where they're top decking. Now, if you cannot get enough damage to kill them, you have to make sure that you play your cards right and ensure that every single turn you're adding 1 to 2 fairies to your hand so that no matter what your opponent top decks, they're never going to be able to resolve it. It'll always be negated, and it'll get them to that point where they scoop because they know that they can't activate anything. And then we have Fairy Cheer Girl because she's stupid good. You turn off your own barrier statue. You draw cards every turn. She's 19 as well. She's good. And then we have Goblin. Underclock, kind of part of that combo. You underclock Goblin. You just summon in the zone. You get extra, like, just stupid good stuff. Like, you make crazy boards. We have Phoenix. We have Cerberus. We have Unicorn. And we also have Sarya's just Scoldred. I chose to do the Scoldred over the Griffin. I've thought about the Griffin because there were times when I can summon Griffin and put Herald of Perfection in his link zone where he points to so that Herald can activate his effect. But I also, like, I'm running low on Griffins. Like, I really don't have enough to go around, so I might have to get extras because I hate swapping stuff from decks. And I think some of the most important spells that I'm not playing right now, and the reason why is because they're my Dark Lords, are the Soul Charge and the Monster Reborn. Though it makes no sense to not play those in Herald of Perfection. So if you have these cards and you don't have only one copy like I do, which I need more copies of this, then put them in your Herald deck, play these because these will save your life, and you can recycle them and resolve them more than once per duel. But because I only have one of each, they just stay in this one deck. So now back to the story I was telling you guys. So I had the honor and pleasure of playing against Pendulum Magicians pretty much at their full power around the time when Joker and Double Iris got banned, and it was kind of like, all right, Astro Chrono, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So I played against this cat at Sinplice who ended up making a board that I could not hand trap because I didn't play hand trapped. He made a Trigate that was pointing to the Firewall. Firewall was calling by 1. He had a Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon in his extra monster zone. He had a whole Parventer Titanic Galaxy, and he had a Jackal King that had counters. My friend, I opened up pre-prep, regular prep, Star Seraph Sovereignty. I opened up Benton and Herald. No, wait. Yeah, I opened up pre-prep, regular prep. I opened up the Sovereignty. I opened Benton, Herald, and then I hard drew Dawn of the Herald for my 6th card. So what I ended up doing was I activated my pre-prep because I knew it was going to be the best bait. So I activated that. He sucked it up with Hope Harbinger Titanic Galaxy. That was one to get out the way. I then activated Dawn of the Herald. He negated it with Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. All that was left after I baited out the Harbinger Titanic and the Odd Eyes Vortex was the Jackal King and the Firewall. So what I did was I activated regular prep and I added another copy of Benton from my deck to my hand, and then I added the Dawn of the Herald back from the grave to the hand. I proceeded to activate it. I summoned my Herald by tributing the Benton. Now, at this point, I declared my chain links because he didn't respond to the summon. I was like, Dawn Chainlink 2, Benton Chainlink 1. And the cards in my hand were only Sovereignty and Benton. So what he proceeded to do was he chained Firewall's effect as Chainlink 3 to bounce my Herald. I decided to discard my Benton, knowing that it would bait off the final negation being the Jackal King for cost as Chainlink 4. And Chainlink 5, he did Jackal King. The Jackal King negated the Herald. I let it resolve backwards, and I let my Herald die. Because I knew if I'd used that sovereignty to negate the Jackal King, while I would have killed the Firewall and the Jackal King, the Vortex in the Titanic Galaxy would still be there, and Herald would not be able to defend himself from them. So I let it die. I let everything resolve backward. I grabbed my Star Seraph sovereignty. I grabbed my Scepter. I did my Stick Chair combo. I ended up drawing into a Ritual Sanctuary and something else. Long story short, I did the Stick Chair combo. I went Deltaros. I broke his board, and then I summoned Herald of Perfection back from the graveyard with the Ritual Sanctuary. It was just stupid. Like, bro, I broke his board and then made my own. Like, it was just stupid good. And I played through, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 forms of disruption. And that is what they call the Steven or the Barry. You know, the Triff Pendulum guy? That's what they call his board. His unbreakable board that he says, I'm going to make this board, bro. Nobody's going to be breaking without, like, a spear mode or whatever. Like, that super cocky guy. I broke that board playing this deck. And it was one of the most amazing moments of my life. It reminded me why I love this deck so much. But yeah, that concludes the deck profile, you guys. I thank you very much for watching this video and for being patient with me. I love y'all. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. I've got a lot more ideas with Herald of Perfection. I'm going to rebuild Herald of Perfection Dark Lords as well because I think it's awesome. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for you guys for tonight. Peace.